serving spiritual seekers around the world. Unity Online Radio.
Welcome to Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends. Join us for the next paradigm-shifting hour as we explore distinctions for becoming a person of purpose, power, passion, peace, and prosperity. Call in with your questions and comments for real-time coaching and conversation committed to inspiring and empowering you to design and live the life of your dreams. And now, it's your turn to start living the designer life with your host, the Reverend Kevin Kitrell Ross.
Welcome to Design Your Life with Kevin Ross and friends, where we gather each week to inspire and empower you to design and live the life of your dreams. I'm your host, the Reverend Kevin Ross. I'm the Senior Minister of Christ Unity Church of Sacramento. My friends call me Rev Kev, and so can you. I'm on a mission to awaken each person to live a life of purpose, passion, peace, and prosperity. And that's what this program is really all about, offering you the distinctions that will awaken you to living life full out, filled with purpose, passion, peace, prosperity. And we have been going strong since 2008 with this show, and I'm thrilled to still be at it. I want to let you know that I appreciate your listenership, and boy, this week you guys have just been showing how much you appreciate the program through Facebook. We have made so many friends this week on Facebook, so I appreciate you telling people about our program, spreading the word that we are live and on the air, and telling people, hey, log on, tune in, listen to Rev Kev on Unity.fm each week. This program is designed truly to give you something of a boost that will take you far beyond what you expected your week to be like. And we always strive to bring you outstanding guests and show topics. Did you know that you can go to Unity.fm, find my page where it says Design Your Life? You can find my page by looking up my picture. If you're listening now, you can see my picture and my page. You can download all of our previous programs to your PDA device, your iPad. I know people who listen on their iPad all the time, or in their iPhones and PDAs, and jogging and working out at the gym and all that, taking these powerful programs with them on the go. And you can do it for absolutely free through iTunes. So check that out, link that, and take that with you so that you can have us in your ear wherever you are. And from 122 countries around the world, we welcome you to this program. Wherever you're tuning in from, you know that we care about you, and we thank you so much for listening all over the world. I think it's phenomenal. Sometimes you have to let us know which country is tuning in today. So just kind of, when you write to me, tell me where you're from and where you're listening from, and then invite me over to dinner, especially if you're in the south of France. I would love to join you for dinner. I'm just saying. Even if you're in the south of the United States, down south, come and have some grits with you. I am celebrating my daughter Angelina's birthday and her first day of school this past week. She started school, and let me tell you, she didn't wait to get there. You know, you would drop your child off for school and you expect them to cry for a little while. She just says, okay, you can pick me up when I'm 18. She was so excited to go. I said, okay, well, very well. So I ran to work thrilled and happy that she's going to be all right. I couldn't stop her mother from crying, but all was good. It's all good. Well, today I am delighted about this opportunity that we will be using our program for today, because this show is really about the listeners. I know we've had some outstanding guests, but it's really about you who listen and who are the ones who take the distinctions that we offer every week and then apply them to your lives. And one of the things that I had been, I don't want to say criticized about, but I had received some feedback about was not bringing the listeners into the conversation as frequently and working with them live on the air. And so this program today is with listeners, and we're going to do some live coaching and work with and around their important questions. And I know that as you listen to them, you will have an opportunity to get your own questions answered, and we may have an opportunity, I'm not sure that we will, but we may have an opportunity to open the line and take some of your questions as well. And I'm joined today, I think, by three or four of our listeners today, who will get to learn a little bit about and then kind of find out about how we can offer more distinctions to them with their powerful questions today. I'm looking at my roster here, and it says that I have joining us today Barry Fargo. He's in the education field, and he wants coaching to create. No, he's currently a teacher, and he wants coaching to create a career in the education field. Is Barry Fargo with us today?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry. How are you?
Good. How are you, Rev Kev?
Wonderful. I'm delighted that you're with us on the program. Now, tell us where you are joining us from.
Sure. I'm calling from Connecticut.
Connecticut. Sweet. How is it out there this time of year?
It's a beautiful, dry summer day.
Beautiful, dry summer. Sounds like Sacramento. Sounds like Sacramento. It is awesome. So now, first of all, let's start with what got you into education?
Sure. I'm 30 years old, and I didn't go to school for education. I actually went for international affairs, and I actually did a alternate route program to teach in the high-need subject area in high-need schools. And so I've been doing that for the past 7 years.
Mm-hmm. And in your work, you found, I guess, at a certain point that you are no longer energized by this?
There's so many things I love about my job, but I feel as if there are opportunities coming my way in the form of part-time work and some other relationships and networking that serve in roles that do more teacher training or do more kind of have more impact stuff. And I've been really thinking about if that's something that I should pursue. I've also thought about going back to school for a doctorate and kind of at a crossroads as to whether or not I should go either one of those ways or stay in terms of the classroom where I am now.
What energizes you the most about your work? When I think about that, what energizes you about teaching and about the field of education itself the most?
Probably working with people.
Okay. So you're energized by people. What kind of people? Young people, your colleagues? Who are you energized by?
I have to say probably young people. With a certain group of adults, like if it's the right sort of organization, right group, I can be with the adults. But I can also be kind of weighed down by that depending on the context. But always the kids.
Always the kids. So always the kids. What ages?
I have taught really all K through 5.
K through 5. Who's your favorite of that? And in K through 5, when you're just imagine yourself in the classroom, they walk in the classroom. What faces do you want to see? Do you want to see the fifth-year-olds? The fifth-year-olds, goodness. The fifth grader? The fifth graders, the fourth graders, the third graders, or below? Where does it fall for you? Where they just,
I have to
when
say
they walk
probably
in the
younger,
classroom,
like first or second.
Okay, why?
I think that there's a spark in their age, in that part of development that is really eager, that's really bright, and I really get a lot of joy from the way in which I can ignite that and inspire kids to really love learning.
Mm. So at that stage in their lives, you feel that you have a greater influence in awakening them to a love of learning. You feel that you're more influential there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think there is something that at that kind of ripe age, that there is something that makes it a little bit more interesting for me.
Okay, so I want to put that on the shelf for just a moment. So I've got putting a pin there because I got something out of that. Let's talk about other areas within education that energizes you. Okay, let's say you're out of the classroom. Now, what other roles could you see yourself playing within the field of education?
I could be really happy as a professor or a coach working with new teachers. I could see myself in other ways working to close the achievement gap for students, as working as part of a nonprofit.
So perhaps what we have, and I'm hearing that there is this side of you that is energized by working as a coach or teaching teachers, influencing the influencers. Yes.
Yes.
Can you see that? Okay, so perhaps if you were looking at it on a larger scale, looking from your legacy, what will my legacy be? What will my mark on the world be? I've educated young minds, but perhaps I want to share what I uniquely have discovered, my unique discoveries in the classroom about having children awaken to a learning, a loving of learning, this love of learning. These are the things that I've discovered in the classroom. And I want to present that either as a coach, as a workshop, as a facilitator, but in a way that allows me to exponentially increase my impact and replicate the experience in the classroom that I'm able to do with those early learners. Can you see that being a possible career option?
I can, and I listen to your show often, and the first thing I think of when I hear that, and I acknowledge, I'm glad I can acknowledge this, is this, well, it has to be, I have to be either a professor or I have to be a teacher, this sort of black and white thinking.
Well, let me give you some other ways it could also appear. It can also appear as a workshop facilitator, as a consultant, as the founder of your own charter school or nonprofit organization that consults with schools. There are a number of ways that this can look. When I was 18 years old, I was hired by Teach for America. Are you familiar with that organization?
Yes.
The Teach for America is a national teachers corps, and essentially they, similar to what your particular situations, they they put together an institute for people who trained in non-educational fields, that is, backgrounds, earn their bachelor's in areas other than education, but they have a certification process to help them become certified as teachers if they would like to teach, and there's some incentives. Well, years ago, I was hired as a workshop facilitator for their institute to teach teachers how to inspire youth in the inner city. I was hired as an expert because I was a youth from the inner city who knew ways that would inspire and motivate youth to learn. My check for that presentation, I think, was $1,100 at 18 years old, and they brought me back several times. So I'm saying to you that there are a number of ways it can look. if you're willing to package your knowledge, package your wisdom, package your experiences and discoveries, and make it available to the, I'm going to say, the educational marketplace in a way that brings great benefit to your target audience, which would be early childhood educators or social workers or folks working with teachers. Now, let me open up a broader topic here. You mentioned black and white thinking. Either or thinking will always have you frustrated because that paradigm limits your potential. Automatically, it says, I can either do this or that. It can either happen this way or that way, and at the core of your being, you are unlimited. You have unlimited potential. So you have a variety of roles. You have a variety of ways of expressing. You have a variety of outlets through which you can express, depending upon what you identify as your unique set of skills, talents, and abilities. Okay? So you always want to think both and rather than either or. You want to raise a question that says, how can I have it all? Raise that question and then challenge yourself to grow tall enough to fill the response that shows up in a question that big. But if my question places me in red-black, or as you said, black-white, or either or, then I am limited to what I can see within that paradigm. Got that? So let me put it in perspective. Let me just play with the Kevin Ross here. Kevin Ross is an ordained minister, and I run a rather sizable church in Sacramento, California. I'm a coach. I am the president of a non-for-profit organization for teenagers. I am an author. I am an itinerant speaker. I travel across the country giving workshops and seminars. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I mean, I can go down the list of ways that I have found to express my unique purpose. You got it? So I want you to see yourself as being capable of unlocking your resourcefulness. Okay? Has this been useful for you, Barry?
It has, very much so. Thank you so much for this.
Okay, and we will get a chance to perhaps have some follow-up discussion when we come back from break. I want to thank you so much. We've been talking with Barry Fargo from Connecticut about how he can get the most out of his life and career by unlocking his potential in education. I'm excited about the possibilities and potential for Barry and all of our listeners today. We're going to talk more when we come right back after this. Stay tuned. You're listening to Design Your Life. I'm your host, Kevin Ross.
If you've been inspired by the programming on Unity Online Radio, we hope you'll give your support so others may be inspired too. This online radio network depends on the love offerings of listeners to continue operating and expand its outreach. Please visit www.unity.fm and click on Donate Now. Thank you.
Working at Unity Village is more than just a good job. It's good work. We're a not-for-profit organization that helps people around the globe live more abundant and meaningful lives. Our work environment is unique, in keeping with the heritage of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, visionary founders of the Unity movement. At the same time, Unity is a 21st century workplace. Job seekers will find plenty of challenges in a wide range of specialties, from information technology to culinary arts, communications to publishing, prayer ministry to retreats, and more. Employees are eligible for a variety of perks and benefits, including a campus setting with year-round activities and a 4-day work week in many departments. To see what employment opportunities await you, visit us at unityjobs.org and apply today.
Sometimes people tell me they've been studying spiritual principles for years, and I've got one question for them. How's your life working? How do you apply principle in every decision every day? Hi, this is Reverend Ellen Debenport, and that's what Laura Shepard and I talk about every week on Absolute Living here on Unity Online Radio. How do we consciously create our experiences in life? What are we attracting? And how can we change it? How do we live at the highest levels of consciousness? On Absolute Living, we talk about how spiritual laws can be used in health, relationships, work, family, prosperity, even parenting. We look at current events for evidence of the laws in action. And we admit our own fears and failures. Laura and I don't live in higher consciousness all the time. But join us on Absolute Living. It's live on Mondays at 1 p.m. Central or in the archives anytime.
We now return to Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends.
If I want to live my life, it's going to take some sacrifice.
Welcome back to Design Your Life. I'm your host, Kevin Ross. Today we're talking with our listeners, and we're working with them on offering distinctions that they can use in their everyday lives and that you can use, that I can use, that we all can use in our day-to-day lives in designing and living the life of our dreams. And we just had an opportunity to talk with Barry Fargo from Connecticut. Now we're going to talk with Greta Cobb. Welcome, Greta.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Kevin Ross.
I'm so delighted that you're with us. Now, where are you joining us from?
I am joining you from Washington, D.C. today.
Washington, D.C. You know, I want to be there this weekend. I'm so torn. This weekend in Washington, D.C., they will unveil the statue of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that's on the National Mall, and I was invited to be there, but I've got a little responsibility here this weekend that's really tearing me not to be there. Will you be there?
I will plan to be there. I think on yesterday I got a little scared, and so this is another day, so my plans is to join with my family and be there on Saturday. So I'm excited about that as well.
Isn't that something? So how many are they expecting to show up for this?
Oh, my goodness. Thousands. From around the world, thousands.
Yeah, just my heart will be there with you. I'm just not able to change up my whole world for this. And it's so important and so significant. Okay, let's get on to supporting you today and all of our listeners. So I'm understanding that you are looking to create a strategy on how to implement getting your book out into the marketplace once it's completed. So you're currently writing a book?
Yes, I am. Matter of fact, I have some ideas for a second one. And just the fear of completing the last chapter, knowing that I will have to get it out, push the baby out of my hands and do something with it. And of course, I hear self-publishing, but I want to create a strategy so I know what are the best options for me and getting the book out and then going further with it.
What is the book about? What are you talking about?
Well, the book is about finding your inner truth. It's called When the Dogs Bark, and everyone knows where the barking dogs are, but it's that silent dog that we tend to ignore, and it's talking about hearing the silent things within us that's barking in us to tell us to move forward. So that's what I'm working on in me. The book is basically about me, but it's about all of us at the same time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is it semi-autobiographical in that it talks about your life, or
yes.
When you say it's about you? Okay, got it. So it's not nonfiction. It is no, it is nonfiction, not fictional. Okay, got it. there are several ways that you can bring your body of work into the marketplace. It just depends on what you are hoping to accomplish through it. Some people publish books with hopes of becoming famous and well known for their work, and in that case, it may be to your advantage to go through a traditional publisher or a publishing house. And if you were to go with a publishing house, there are some things that you would need to prepare, and one of that is a book proposal. There are tons of books on writing book proposals because it's not so much submitting the manuscript that sells your book, but submitting a book proposal. A book proposal is essentially a book business plan, and it tells the publisher not only what the content of your book is and who you intend to read and be benefited by the content of your book, but also how you intend to sell the book, what things you're willing to do as the author to make the book successful. Are you willing to do a book tour? Are you willing to do social media? Are you willing to come up with creative gatherings in order to sell the book? There's a distinction between best written books and best selling books. And publishers are very interested in how you will be, what you will do to help make the book a best-selling book, okay? Obviously, they are in it as much as they're in it for the love of literature. They're also in it because they want to make a profit. So if you're thinking about working with a publisher, think in terms of publishers that promote books like the one that you are releasing. So you might go to your local bookstore and just look at favorite bodies of work or favorite books in the genre that you are writing about, and then research who is the number one publisher of this type of material. And then here's the secret. With holding that same book in your hand, let me tell you, my favorite part of reading a book, particularly when I'm thinking about publishing and releasing a book, favorite part of doing it is looking at the acknowledgments. Always read the acknowledgments and have a highlighter, because in the acknowledgments you will find the names of the people who made that book a success. And often those people who made the book a success are available on a consultant basis, a hiring basis, or sometimes a co-author basis. It simply depends on their lives and schedules and how they have their work structured. But it never hurts to look and see that this person was the editor of this book, this person was the agent who brokered the deal to get the book published. You want to search through all of that to see just how you can tap into their wisdom. Okay, so you can build your virtual team for the success of your book simply by looking at other books like yours, okay, and starting there. How's this serving you so far?
Oh, my goodness, this is great. You had answered two questions in one.
I've answered two questions. All right. The other thing is self-publishing, okay? Self-publishing is a wonderful way to support your cause. People write books for the purpose of either telling a story or educating and enlightening or warning. There are a number of reasons why people write books. And so when you self-publish a book, the book can also often be used as a support tool for you to come into various organizations and talk about the central subject matter of the book. In other words, your self-published book can serve as a calling card that enables you to come and talk about it. And you use that book more as back of the house product. It is something that supplements your speaking career, or it supplements your consulting work, or it supplements. And in that way, as a self-published author, you can actually, depending upon how active you are, you can actually realize a greater profit from your book sales, because you don't have to share as much with the publisher. You take more of the risk on the front end in terms of funding it and all of that, but you also take more of the reward, because you're not splitting it with anybody else but you and perhaps a bookstore if you have them placed in bookstores, etc. But it's not as diminished through the split with the publisher. Now, the advantage of self-publishing also is that you have control over the life of your material, so you can adjust it when you want to. You have quite a bit of influence over what it looks like. Often if you partner with a publisher, publishers are going to tell you pretty much when the book is ready to go to print, because they're going to assign their editors and graphic people and all of that. So depending upon what matters to you the most. But what I will say about self-publishing is it's very rewarding work, because frequently your book puts you in touch directly with the people who are served by it. So you get to be there in a one-on-one and in groups with people, hearing how the work has benefited them and learning their unique stories and all of that. Okay. So I either way is a good way, but you're going to have to work hard and put the effort in on either side of it. There are some great books on self-publishing, and I can't remember, but I'm going to try and call a name. Dan Poynter, Poynter. I think that's how you spell his name. He's written one of the best books on self-publishing. And Mark Victor Hansen used to, I don't know if he's still doing it. Yeah, it's Dan, Poynter, his self-publishing manual. He's considered the number one expert in this area. You can get him through Amazon. And Mark Victor Hansen used to, I don't know if he still does, puts on a seminar for authors called Mega Book Marketing, talking to you about all of the ways to market your book and get it into the hands of people. And of course, you know, Mark Victor Hansen is the partner in the book empire, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Hope that's been helpful for you. Did you have another question before we move on?
Oh, no, you answered both of them. I was taking so many notes. This is great. So much.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you're with us, and I hope this helps our other listeners. Let's keep moving. Is Myri here?
Yes, I am, Ralph.
Hi, Marlene. How are you?
I am here, and I am very grateful for the opportunity.
And where are you joining us from, Marlene?
Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles, California. By the way, I just love your distinguished sounding voice. You sound like Maya Angelou.
That's interesting. Thank you.
It says that you like coaching on spiritual will, that you are struggling with several work projects and are interested in knowing how much longer it will be for you to do the work that's meant for you. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Certainly. What happens is, actually, I am doing a study at Unity that is about the 12 powers. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And one of the powers is will. And this is the 8th month of the year, and August we cover will. And I found some very fascinating things in that piece right there, and only after reading that for the very first time on August 1st, I realized, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but it's true, that there are two different types of will. There is, of course, mine, and there is spiritual will, and that both have to work together. And I am I'm just fascinated by that information, and I go back as often as I can to that article. And my question is, when I spoke to your secretary earlier this morning, is there a time, a precise time, when you release your will and, in fact, embrace the will of God, knowing that that is the best for you, that He has your best intentions in mind, that He has a higher will for you? Or should it be the other way around? Should a person just sit around and say, well, you know what, I am just going to sit here and wait and see what God wills, and that is where I am?
Okay, well, by the way, wonderful question, and yes, I am familiar with the 12 powers and the faculty of will that you're talking about. Well, there's a short answer and a long answer. I'm going to try and give you a little bit of both. The time is always now. If you would like your life to move with greater ease and grace, then surrendering your personal will, your egoic will, that part of you that is willful, seeking to control, manipulate, and manage. For the higher will, that side of you, and it's just a slight pivot, that side of you that is willing. So you can just feel the shift even in saying the words, willful, willing. When you are shifting from being willful, you are dropping, as Esther Hicks would say, you're dropping the oars. You have chosen to stop paddling upstream. You have let go of resistance. And then you are moving into a place of being willing, where you allow the stream to carry you. Now, in order for this to occur, you have to recognize what this greater will is. And here it is. The greater will, or the will of God, the will of Spirit, the will of the universe, is absolute good. Because the nature of God, the nature of Spirit, the nature of the universe is absolute good, and therefore God's will is congruent with God's nature. And therefore God cannot will anything for you that is not for your highest good, your greatest joy, and that will bring about a conspiracy and onslaught of good into your life. Your resistance to this good is what limits you, it's what binds you, it's what creates the experience of struggle and pain in your life. And we're going to talk a little bit more with you, Marlene, when we come back from this break. Stay tuned. You're listening to Design Your Life. I'm your host, Kevin Ross. We'll be right back.
Step inside my life.
Working at Unity Village is more than just a good job. It's good work. We're a not-for-profit organization that helps people around the globe live more abundant and meaningful lives. Our work environment is unique, in keeping with the heritage of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, visionary founders of the Unity movement. At the same time, Unity is a 21st century workplace. Job seekers will find plenty of challenges in a wide range of specialties, from information technology to culinary arts, communications to publishing, prayer ministry to retreats, and more. Employees are eligible for a variety of perks and benefits, including a campus setting with year-round activities and a 4-day work week in many departments. To see what employment opportunities await you, visit us at unityjobs.org and apply today.
Have you ever noticed that life is filled with amazing people? People who are passionate about being alive and fully engaged in living on purpose and with intention. Hi, I'm Jamie Sanders, host of Spirituality Today here on Unity Online Radio. Each week, we bring you an hour of inspiration and motivation to empower you to be the best you can be. Listen in and open up as we present some of the most dynamic teachers, authors, musicians, and celebrities that are living the life extraordinaire. Spirituality Today, every Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, where life is good, and so are you.
We now return to Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends.
Unity Online Radio is listener-supported radio, and when you take the time to listen to our network, you're listening to a commitment to wake the world up to its potential and possibility. And so we encourage you to contribute to our network by going to www.unity.fm and finding the contribute button and making a generous contribution that keeps my program and other programs just like this on the air so that you can podcast it and download it for free and share it with your friends and have it for years and years to come. We are Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. Yes, before we went to break, something really loud just happened there. But just before we went to break, we were talking with Marlene, who's joining us from Los Angeles, California. We were talking with Marlene about how do we know when to surrender our personal will for the will of God. And as I was in that break, or coming to break, I was explaining that the time is always now when you understand what the will of God, what the will of Spirit, what the nature of the universe is, which is absolute good. There's always a conspiracy of good seeking to bring itself to you, and if you can trust that to be so, then you become an inlet for this will to express through. You become a way into which this good comes into your life. If there is the resistance, if there is the struggle in consciousness around, can I trust God? It's like, can I trust oxygen? You know, you better give it a shot. You better give it a shot. Else there won't, you won't have any future conversations about whether or not. So it's because the presence of God, the source spirit, is the field into which we each draw all that is required for our highest functioning. And so when I can notify my will of this, my will can relax and know that all is well. Now, the will is the executive faculty of consciousness. That is, it is the CEO of consciousness. It is the faculty that barks all of the orders to the rest of your faculty, your will. And so when you align your will with the divine will, or when you align your will with that which is for your highest and best functioning and your greatest good and highest joy, when you align your will with that, then what begins to happen in your experience is that you start seeing and witnessing all of the other faculties come into alignment. Your whole being comes into alignment. So your love faculty comes into alignment, and your imagination comes into alignment, and your strength comes into alignment. It all starts pulling together For all things working together. All things begin working together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. So now you see that the all things we're talking about are all faculties now begin working together in harmony with the universal will. Got it?
Absolutely. The way you put it,
Go ahead.
It is. This information is priceless, is what I'm saying. Of how, about exactly how to go about aligning my will with the will of the greater good that is in it for me, and how all the other faculties will immediately line up with it for, put in place or be in place for a greater good. That is just interesting and fascinating information.
Yeah, and you just practice. You practice this. You work with it as a spiritual practice, and the way you can identify when you are being willful rather than willing is the amount of resistance that you are entertaining in your life at any given time. How much resistance you're living with. How much you're pushing up against something. How much you're seeking to control and manipulate, which is a real obvious function that you're being, obvious sign that you're being willful, that you're trying to control and manipulate and make something happen. When you're being willing, it's like setting your sail, trusting that the wind will blow. And all you need do is gently steer. The wind will blow. Have you got it?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And I appreciate it. I knew you would pull it together for me, Reverend Kev. I knew you would.
I'm so glad. I am glad I could. Well, we have listening and joining with us another listener from, I don't know where you're calling in from, but I'll find out in a moment. But she's Robin Hiscox, and she is working on her relationship, and I bet you a bunch of you, thousands of you listening, are probably working on this one. And she has been talking with her ex-husband about reunification, but her family members on both sides appear to be against it. This is good. Come on in, Robin. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
How are you? Oh, thank you for being here. So, Robin, where are you joining us from?
I am joining you from right here from Sacramento. Sacramento, California.
Wonderful. So now talk to me, Robin. You are looking to reunite with your husband or your ex-husband.
Yes.
So tell me why.
Well, because he's really a good man, and we both have we've been separated for 5 years, and we both have been working on ourselves independently and doing some counseling work. And one of the major things that the both of us have concluded is that we can forgive. And I have forgiven him. He has forgiven me. And we think that we're really good for each other. We have a lot of things in common, career-wise and even in our extracurricular activities. And so we're willing to try again. But because of everything that we both have gone through with a bad breakup, our families are not supportive.
I heard a lot of things that are logical reasons why you should get back together. outside of the logical reasons why, are there other reasons why you would get back together with him?
Well, I love him, and I just feel like he is my soul partner, has always been.
Okay.
And a major reason for us not getting along is because we had a blended family, and that was the most difficult part of our relationship. And that's not to put blame on our children, but it is a fact. And we are empty nesters right now, and we feel that we can do this.
What I want to say right away, and I acknowledge you for your willingness to pick it back up again and look at it again, because sometimes, the ego can get in the way of our greater good, and part of this very situation. So this kind of relates a little bit to Marlene's question. Part of the ego's job is to make you look good at all costs. Your ego wants you to look good, no matter whether you're losing or not. But it's got to have you looking good and being right. So, in a case like this, with the pressure of your family, not being in support, the ego is flaring up a little bit. Because you get to look bad, the ego is going to try and protect you and create fear in your experience to have you second guess yourself around this decision. And so just be aware that the ego wants to make you look good in front of the family. But I'm glad you have been able to see beyond this and see what's possible. So here's my thought around this. A marriage is an agreement. A marriage is an agreement between two people, and your agreement about your relationship and the purpose for your relationship is strictly between you and the other individual. It's not about the outside external influences, even your children. I tell my wife often, I said, these little hill and gully riders are going to be gone before long.
Right.
These pup snatchers are going to be gone, and off with their lives.
Yes.
So we have to make sure that, along the way that we are nurturing each other as much as we nurture them. So you may want to get back to what is the agreement? What is your marriage about? What is the commitment there for? And what is it that you each are willing to contribute to make it fruitful and generous and fruitful and abundant and satisfying and fulfilling of one another. As you recognize, it is work. It is mental, spiritual, and emotional work of all kinds. So you're talking about a huge commitment. So what I have helped couples with in cases like this is doing the work that Gary Zukav offers in his book, Spiritual Partnership. Elevating your marriage from simply being a marriage to a spiritual partnership. That is the joining of equals for the purpose of spiritual growth. And having that serve as the foundation of your marriage, so that you're not simply there to like each other, you're not simply there to play tennis together, but you use each of life's many experiences that will come your way to help evolve each other as spiritual beings and to reveal greater qualities from within each other, greater qualities of compassion and generosity and forgiveness and kindness and power and et cetera, that you're helping to take each other on a journey. So I would recommend you get the book by Gary Zukav, Spiritual Partnership, and perhaps start working with the Spiritual Partnership guidelines that he outlines. It's a wonderful way to kind of reassess where you are in the marriage and what's possible for the two of you. I wish you all the best with that. I really do.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much.
Yeah,
I really appreciate the information.
You got it. Look forward to us following up with all of our guests today. I want to thank all of you for being here. Each one of you added something quite special. Barry and Robin and Marlene and I'm missing somebody. Who did I just miss? Greta. All of you for being on our program. We've got to go now. Tune in next week where we will offer you more distinctions for designing and living the life of your dreams. Go forth and do just that. Here. Bye-bye.
I gotta see beyond my senses.
Thank you for tuning in to Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends. Join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for more designer life distinctions and inspiration to empower you to design and live the life of your dreams. Design Your Life with Kevin Ross and friends, only on Unity FM, the voice of an awakening world. This program is brought to you by Kevin Ross Speaks, online at www.kevinrossspeaks.com. Electrifying speaking, training, and coaching for a transformed world. Is your life on hold? Do you feel stuck? Are you a success story to everybody but yourself? Are you tired of getting ready to get ready? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then tune in every Wednesday to Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends. Get ready to answer your life's highest calling. Reclaim your life with Reverend Kev and friends and explore distinctions for becoming a person of purpose, power, passion, peace, and prosperity. Call in with your questions and comments for real-time coaching and conversation committed to inspiring and empowering you to design and live the life of your dreams. That's Design Your Life with Reverend Kevin Ross and friends every Wednesday right here on Unity FM, the voice of an awakening world.
Inspiration only takes a moment. Take a moment now to reflect on these words from Reverend Joan Gattuso. According to an ancient Hindu teaching, if you can only speak the truth and tell no lies, either minuscule or outrageous, for 12 consecutive years, you can attain enlightenment. A noble being will always tell the truth. Do you? Begin now with the first step of simply noticing if you do tell the truth immediately, or if your first instinct is to alter the facts a bit. Resolve to be honest with yourself and others starting today. And after 4,383 days, you just may become enlightened.
This meditative moment is brought to you by Unity.